wasn't a good win. That was a great win. Defense. Defense, it was hard. It's never easy in this league. 2 takeaways, 4 sacks. 3 of them. 3 of them from Will McDonald. We had Irv with a block punt. We had 8 different players receive the ball today from Aaron, and finally 2 touchdowns from the young rook, youngest player in NFL history to score a touchdown.
Welcome into Jets Overtime, presented by SiriusXM. I'm Caroline Hendershot, joined by Eric Allen and Quincy Enunwa. We're here in the Audi Performance Studio with the Jets' first win of the 2024 season. You heard Robert Saleh. Wasn't a good win. It was a great win. It was gritty, maybe not the prettiest thing we've ever seen. But what are some of your initial thoughts from that win?
That was a hell of a victory because the Jets took a big-time punch from the Tennessee Titans early in that game, and they responded. And you got all 3 phases contributing. You're talking about a defense that gave you 2 takeaways in the first half, and then the offense got going. Robert Saleh just talked about Braelon Allen. Not only is he the youngest running back to record a touchdown in the National Football League since 1950, but he had 2 touchdowns in all. One of those was a receiving touchdown. Both backs for the Jets, Braelon Allen and Breece Hall, have receiving touchdowns. That's the first time that's happened for this organization since 1994, coming in the same game. And then when you needed a drive late in the game, this is why you have a Hall of Fame passer like Aaron Rodgers, 5 of 5 on the game winner, and that drive culminates on Braelon Allen's touchdown. And then finally, the defense stood up. They yielded yards late in the final seconds, but they stood up a wall there at the 8-yard line.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when the game first began, it kind of felt like, oh, man, this is a repeat of last week. It was a little scary, right? They got out ahead first. They scored the touchdown. And you're like, okay, where is this game going? Then that fumble happens, right? Will Levis made one of those mistakes that he made last week. And then everybody's spirits started to lift a little bit. But then you see C.J. Mosley go down. It's like, oh, man. Like, I don't know where this game is going. I don't know how it's going to who's going to step up. You saw Jamie and Sherwood step up. You saw Quincy Williams making some big plays out there. So I think everybody just rallied around, and we saw guys playing above themselves, but not doing too much. Not trying to be Superman, but just trying to play their position as best as they could. And that's what you want to see every week by week, guys going out there and doing their job, right? We hear it all the time when Belichick was playing, right, or coaching. It was do your job. And guys were really doing their job, stepping up when they needed to step up.
Now, someone who did their job, the rookie, Braelon Allen. Ethan Greenberg got to catch up with him down in Tennessee after the win.
Here with running back Braelon Allen. Braelon, your first win in the NFL comes down to the wire. How important do you feel like this win was to Jets?
I think it's very important for us. Just trying to hit the ball range a little bit. Obviously, tough one last week, so to put back on the road and finish your day, it feels great.
But for you, 2 touchdowns on the day. What did you see on each play?
Honestly, it was crazy. We have a lead on a weak quarterback, that was able to make adjustments to give me the end zone. So I think the guys were playing great. Excited to kick in.
How much of an emphasis was establishing the run, considering the lack of establishing the run on Monday night in week 1?
Well, honestly, I didn't feel like we really emphasized anything throughout the week. We know what our identity is. We know how to, play well. So whether, we're trying to establish the run or, kind of get the ball going through the air, we can do it either way. So we just kind of got to play off each other.
Awesome, Braelon. Congratulations.
Big percent.
Now, the rookie who did not have that big of a role in week 1 came back swinging this week. He had 7 carries for 33 rush yards, 2 receptions, 23 receiving yards, and 2 total touchdowns. What do we think about that kind of performance out of a rookie?
Agent Zero. That was a primetime performance. I know the Jets played at 1 o'clock today, but they got great efforts from both of the running backs. And you think about the distribution here from Aaron Rodgers that you combine Braelon Allen and Breece Hall, they had nearly 30 touches in this game. And the great thing about both of these backs is they're physical, downhill runners, but they're also threats out of the backfield as pass catchers. That touchdown catch from Breece Hall was amazing. And the touchdown from Braelon Allen, tremendous play call, and also great work with the ball from Aaron Rodgers because he fakes going one way, it comes right back to Braelon Allen, and Allen knew what to do with it.
Yeah, I think we finally got to see the killer bees, right? They talked about it in training camp. This is what they joke about, but I think we're going to finally see this implemented throughout the season. This is something that's important because you got two backs that are dangerous. You don't have to put a fullback out there. You can put a running back out there, and you can do so many different things. We saw that touchdown to Braelon Allen, and that's exciting because who knows who's going to get the ball and who's going to score. That's a dangerous backfield right there. So, again, the killer bees, and then also just making the most of your opportunity, right? Because he only had 9 touches, but 2 touchdowns, running the ball and catching the ball. That's a dual threat. We talk about Breece Hall being that person, but to have Braelon Allen also be the guy, I mean, the sky's the limit with this offense.
Yep, he credited Tyler Conklin with really opening one of the gaps in the defense for him with that one. Now, let's go really quickly to Uncorked. Jets Uncorked, a premium Cabernet wine and the ultimate collector's item for every fan. Elevate your tailgate with the perfect edition at nyjets.com/wine. Bleed green, drink red. Now, we got to get into this run game, specifically Braelon and Breece's touchdowns. Quincy, you are going to walk us through a little bit of some film breakdown and how these running backs got their touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. And it's exciting because, again, the killer bees, I talked about it briefly, but I can't wait to really break it down with you guys and show you exactly what happened during these plays. It's right here, the killer bees in the backfield. You got these two guys back there, and, again, it's exciting because you don't know who's going to get the ball. Now, we got Breece Hall taking the eyes from everybody back there. Okay, look, this is your dangerous back. Everybody's going to be watching him, but it's a great play call because now you fake that way and look at all the green grass. And you give Braelon Allen an opportunity to make these plays that you know he can make. Put your head down and go get it, big fella. Right through the end zone. Great job. You get to celebrate your team, a rookie. Now, in this second play here, it's another great play because you see man-to-man. You see Aaron Rodgers back there. Okay, I know what I'm looking at. And like he said, Breece told him, if it's man-on-man, throw me this ball. He's looking at the safety. His hips are open this way, towards the field. So, okay, I have an opportunity. He has to flip his hips to get to this ball. And it's just a great ball and a great catch from Breece Hall. You don't expect that from a running back, to go up there with your hands. But there's a nice job snagging it with his hands. That's what you want to see, a guy all over him and still come down without fumbling the ball. Crown this man. He's a baller.
Yeah, that's rare. If he's even, he's leaving,
Yeah.
and Breece Hall was certainly leaving on that play.
Do you guys expect to see them both used kind of in tandem a lot more this year?
I hope so, honestly, because, again, this is a great threat. You have more talent out there, more weapons out there, and I think Aaron Rodgers is always going to be excited for that. He went empty a few times. You saw it on that second play. So anytime he can do something like that, it's great for him.
Quincy's always talking about eye discipline when we're up here on set. And when you see number 20 flash across the field and you are a defender, your eyes automatically are going to go there. So that just allows Braelon Allen to have a tremendous amount of space. And you're going to continue to see this offense, I think, develop with time. This is only the second game they've all been together. So, there's been some stops and starts out there, but we've seen so many signs of promise of what they're ultimately going to become.
Yeah, you heard Coach Saleh in that speech in the locker room say 8 different players received the ball today, a big improvement from week 1. So it's important that all of you Jets fans go out to MetLife Stadium this Thursday for the Jets home opener presented by Verizon on Thursday, September 19th. The Jets are taking on their division rivals, the New England Patriots. A limited number of tickets remain at nyjets.com/tickets, so you got to lock in yours now. Now let's flip to the other side of the ball, guys. We got to highlight, obviously, Will McDonald. 3 sacks from him today, a huge performance. He really stepped up, especially in that fourth quarter. We were really sad to see Jermaine Johnson get carted off in the third quarter. All of our best wishes and prayers are going out to him, and hopefully the injury is not as serious as some people are saying it is. But Will McDonald, what did you like about his performance today?
Yeah, you're right about Jermaine. It's never a good sign when the team says that he has an Achilles injury and he's out of the game. That almost happened instantly after he was carted off the field. So tough break for the Jets. But defensively, big picture, they were dealing with a lot today. DJ Reed was out of the lineup. Brandon Echols steps into the starting lineup. Yeah. Then you got C.J. Mosley. He goes out of this game. He's replaced by Jamien Sherwood. And you mentioned Will McDonald. A lot of people are asking, hey, is he going to have a second-year leap? Well, in his rookie season, Will McDonald had 3.5 sacks. Today, he had 3 sacks. None bigger than the one he made late because the Titans had advanced to the Jets' 8-yard line, and he pushed them back even more. So that 4th down play where they're trying to come up with the game-tying touchdown, that actually comes off at the 15-yard line. Will McDonald is explosive. He's tall. He's got great bend. And really, when you're talking about an athlete, he brings a lot to the table. What Robert Saleh and the defensive staff continues to talk about, hey, are you going to be better at the point of attack? And he's showing that in year 2.
Yeah, definitely. And the Jets really showed their depth on the defensive side. I mean, we talk about do your job. At least 4 guys were out there, and they weren't out. They didn't start last week, right? So you're talking about Echols, you're talking about Sherwood, you're talking about McDonald, right? Yeah. So guys that went out there and performed and played well. And shout out to Tony Adams, man. He was all over the field making plays. Last week he led the team in tackles. This week he was really out there making those pass deflections, making it hard for Will Levis. And I talked about it in the pregame. Get pressure on Will Levis, and he's going to chuck it up. And he did that. Now, Sauce didn't get his pick today. That's what my prediction was. But they did a great job as a defense, just making sure that they made it hard for him.
Yeah, they really emphasized that pressure on the second-year quarterback. Now, Ethan Greenberg also got to catch up with Will McDonald down in Tennessee outside the locker room.
Here with Will McDonald. Will, let's start at the end of the game, the 3rd down play where you sacked Will Levis. What did you see on that play that led you to getting him down?
Going to get the ball, Coach always say win our one-on-one, so, in that time, we had to win our one-on-ones, get the job done, continue to make production, win the game.
This offense clearly has potential, but to rely on the defense in this type of game, what does it say about this group to bend but not break?
Everybody's good, everybody's making production, and everybody's doing their job. So, as long as they have a part to play in, it's really all that matters. We might have a couple, slip-ups here and there, but, we got to continue to play the next play, win the game.
A couple sacks for you today, just so far through 2 weeks in year 2. How do you feel out there? Do you feel like you're playing faster?
I feel like I am. Like I said, just continue to get in production, continue being the man across from me, and keep winning games, keep getting sacks. Ultimate goal is to get to the tip. So, we just got to get the obstacles out the way and just make sure we get there and do our business.
And then, lastly, unfortunately, Jermaine Johnson goes down. Just what was the message at that point amongst the defensive linemen when you knew he wasn't going to return today?
It's sad to see him go down, but, got to pray for my boy, man. He was a big pillar in our defense, especially in our D-line room. So, we just got to play for man and CJ also, all the other guys that got hurt, just playing one play at a time. They just continue to dominate as a defense.
Thanks, Will. Congratulations on the win. Appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all.
I know everyone has been really eager to see Will McDonald in his second year and what that's going to look like, but we saw it today really in full form. Look at him throughout these series of his highlights right now. He was just on a different level today. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah, and it started early in the game. That first sack came on the first possession, and then finally here on the last possession of the game where the Tennessee Titans are desperately trying to tie this ball game up, there's Will McDonald making a huge play. Impact he made big time here in week 2.
Yeah, definitely. And it looked like, what was that, maybe a butt sack? Like, that was weird. Like, I don't know what
hey, by any means necessary.
At all, exactly. That's what you got to do. And, it's great for him, right? It's a confidence booster for a guy that people were doubting going into the season. He's only going to keep going up right now because now he knows he can do it, and he can do it consistently if he believes he can.
Yeah, and I think especially if Jermaine Johnson is kind of sidelined for a few weeks with an injury, Will McDonald will have an even bigger role to fill, and he certainly looks ready to step into that role. So I want to go back to looking at the scoring summary of the game because we talked about it right off the top of the show. It maybe wasn't the fastest start that the Jets had. Obviously, the Titans got on the board first with that Calvin Ridley run for a touchdown, but then Braelon Allen came right back out. And then it kind of went back and forth a little bit. What did you guys see at halftime, right before halftime, that kind of shifted with the Jets' offense?
I actually think one of the most under-the-radar plays of the game goes down is not as a play. It's a penalty, a roughing the passer penalty from the Titans' Jeffrey Simmons on Aaron Rodgers, because the score was 10-7 at halftime. The Jets had that opening possession. It looked like it was actually a 3-and-out. That came on a 3rd and 15 play where Aaron Rodgers threw an incompletion. The Jets continued that drive. They go down the field. The possession ends with Breece Hall's touchdown from Aaron Rodgers. On the ensuing possession, the Jets take the ball away. Well, no, actually, Irv Charles comes up with a block punt after a 3-and-out. That sets up Greg Zuerlein. And from there, the Jets kind of took command at 17-10.
Yeah, definitely. I think coming out of halftime, anytime you can score points there, that's like a biggest jump for your offense, right? You come out of halftime, you have that halftime speech by Coach Saleh, and he's telling you, like, listen, guys, we know what we're capable of doing. And they did, and they knew that. They came out in that second half and started off strong with that touchdown and never looked back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the Jets, frankly, they had a rough start to this game. Tennessee was coming out, guns blazing, and the Jets were really put back, I think, by a number of penalties. But the defense made key plays with those takeaways.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee's in the red zone there. Will Levis panics trying to make a play, and Quincy Williams comes up with a fumble recovery. And then Brandon Echols, after that, the very next Tennessee offensive play, Will Levis is dialing long distance, and Brandon Echols stepping up in place of DJ Reed comes up with an interception. Huge plays by the defense to kind of steady the ship, because the Jets, they had an uneven start to this ball game.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for the Jets now going forward is, okay, how can we capitalize off those turnovers, right? So they had 3 turnovers and only made 6 points. So going forward, the defense can continue to do that, but offensively, they have to find ways to make some more points, and that way you can really get that that complementary football.
Yeah, and I thought the Jets were a lot better against the run today. I know it says ultimately that the Titans ran for about 130 yards. A lot of that came off the legs of Will Levis. Yes. I thought, by and large, on the line of scrimmage, the Jets were a lot better than they were 6 days ago.
Yeah, they definitely dominated the line of scrimmage, and that's what they were looking to do this week. And they knew they could do that because there's a young offensive line that they were playing against, right? So we didn't get to see Quentin Williams really take over, but I think as a whole, the group played really well, pushed the line back, made it tough for Tony Pollard to get anything going, and that's what really showed out today.
I know you were talking about complementary football between the offense and the defense. What about the special teams today? We gave Irv Charles a little bit of a shout-out with that block punt, but Robert Saleh was calling him a Pro Bowl special teamer, an all-pro special teamer. He had one of the best games I have seen in a really long time. This offseason, I was talking to him. He was really excited to kind of step up into that leadership role on special teams, and I think it showed here today.
Yeah, he's a dangerous piece on the special teams. I mean, Coach Boyer has the opportunity to put him anywhere he wants to because nobody can cover him. They can double team him. They can single cover him. And then not only that, then he can come on the other side and block punts. And it's a great job because there's a little bit of a misdirection, a little bit of a disguise there, because usually on that punt block, you're trying to rush the block, right? But this one, he said, okay, I'm going to fake, like I'm going to hold you up, because there's 2 types of rushes. You're either rushing to block or you're rushing to block the player to get him downfield for a great return. So he faked like he was going to go up to him and said, okay, I'm going to block you, and then ran past him. Sometimes people look at that and think that it's like a cut and then I'm trying to block. But it was a great disguise.
Justin Hardy was a very good player on these special teams units the last couple of years at the gunner position. Who's going to replace him? It's going to be Irv Charles. It has to be. And again, Tennessee entering this game, they had a 17-0 lead last week against the Chicago Bears. Yep. And the reason why they lost that ball game was because of turnovers. Will Levis turning the football over, and they also had a block punt that was returned for a touchdown. Today, the Jets did what good teams do. They did not beat themselves. They did not have any turnovers. They took the ball away 2 times. And they also had a block punt on special teams. Add that all together, and the calming influence of a Hall of Fame quarterback in Aaron Rodgers versus a guy who's trying to make plays, an awfully talented quarterback in Will Levis, the Jets just played better. They did not lose the game. The Titans, in many aspects, I thought, actually lost the game.
Yeah, when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback leading the charge down the field, and he's seen almost every single play there is to see, I feel like that brought a calmness about the Jets in that last quarter of the game where it really, really mattered. But we're going to go into report cards. It's time for Quincy and EA to give out some grades. Let's start with you, Quincy. Let's give a grade for the Jets offense.
Okay, so the offense, I know there's room to grow, so I gave them a B+. Reason being because I think that they showed some great promise today. I would like to see just a little bit more variety. I love what they were doing with Aaron Rodgers, emptying it out, seeing what they're giving me. A lot of times it was man, and I'm going to get it to my guy. He gave it to Mike Williams on the left. He gave it to Breece Hall for a touchdown on the right. It was a great job of just trying to find ways to beat those mismatches. And that's what's going to happen all year. You have so many great players out there. You have so many opportunities for mismatches. You got to find a way to take advantage of those. But then in the run game, I want to see them improve a little bit more, right? Sometimes they try to get the receivers in the game. It doesn't always work. The offensive line is not always getting the blocks to help his guys get going. So it was a really slow start. Eventually, they started to get it going, but I want to see that improve a little more.
Yeah, slow start. I think I gave the Jets offense a B overall. A lot of things that you can build on. Ultimately, this unit is going to be a unit that I think we're going to be giving A's to later in the season. Aaron Rodgers was really good. Caroline, you talked about that last possession. The game-winning possession before Braelon Allen's touchdown. Rodgers was 5 of 5. That 3rd and 1 play to Garrett Wilson was a thing of beauty. And then Quincy also talked about it before, that pass to Mike Williams. That's why you have Mike Williams in the ballgame. Those 50-50 balls become 80-20 balls when Mike Williams is in the game. And you got the run game going, close to 30 touches overall for Braelon Allen and Breece Hall. But again, the start, you got to get more, and also you want to have more consistency. So I want to be a tougher grader than Q, and I'm going to give him a B.
All right, well, I like that the Jets offense heading in that right direction. Quincy, what about the Jets defense today?
So for defense, I gave them an A-. Let me see if we got it right here because I know I gave it in. Okay, there we go, baby. Yeah, so I went A- here. At first I thought about giving them an A, but I was like, okay, they could have done a lot more. They could have done a lot better. It was great that the guys that stepped up. And that's what you want to see, right? Everybody's going out there and they're playing and doing their job. I talked about it before. But there was just a few things that I would have liked to see better. Will Levis was playing his butt off. He made some plays that I don't think everybody can make. And so you got to give it to him. Like that touchdown throw to Calvin Ridley, that's one that you're not going to see very often. Like, that's a hell of a play. Like, so you can't be too mad about it, especially if you're Sauce. They made him turn the ball over a couple times, sacked him 3+ times. So overall, it's a great stat today, but I know that they can do more.
Of course. You're such a generous. You are a generous. I'm having
Maybe
trouble with the word.
Bias, man.
Yeah.
That's probably what it is.
Listen, you are a great teacher because every student in the class is getting good grades. I'm going B+ for the defense because they got the 2 takeaways. Will McDonald comes up with the 3 sacks. Brandon Echols steps up with the interception. Jamie Sherwood had, I believe, 9 tackles overall, and the defense was buzzing, and I thought they did a much better job at the line of scrimmage. With that being said, too many penalties, and the start, you want to see the defense get off to a better start as well. At the end of the game, they stood tall, though.
Yeah, they stayed true to their typical style of play, really trying to pressure the quarterback. And earlier this week, the defense was talking about if you give that pressure to Will Levis, he does tend to panic. So they stayed true to their game plan. What about special teams?
All right, Professor Q is back. I gave them another great win with an A+. A+ here, right? Because I think they did a great job. Punt coverage was amazing. Punt return was amazing with the block. You hit all your field goals, right? So you did everything I want you to do. Now, EA, he has his point that he's going to make later. But as of right now, I think there's room for improvement. There always is. But when you win the game the way they win it in this fashion, and special teams was a big part of it, I got to give them an A+.
I give Irv Charles an A+. As far as special teams overall, how about A-? There's not much to complain about here. The only thing that I'm going to take away from this ball game that is a slight critique would be Xavier Gibson on the one punt return in the second half. He had a lot of room and he called for a fair catch. But other than that, A-.
Yeah, one play, not even an A though. That's tough.
We have the hard teacher and the nicer teacher maybe on this desk.
Listen, you want to take my class?
Hey, you think Boyer's going to be pointing that out in the film room at all?
Absolutely, he absolutely will.
There's always something that you can learn from.
The grades are trending in the right direction, but I will take a page out of Aaron Rodgers' book. Relax. It's a long season, and that's what we're in for. And speaking of a long season, we've got the upcoming schedule because the Jets are going to finish their 3 games in 10 days this Thursday, taking on the Patriots, and then they're home again in Week 4, taking on the Broncos, and then Week 5, you're going abroad, playing the Vikings in London. So those are the next 3 upcoming, but how tough do you imagine that this Thursday game is going to be, just coming off of all of this travel? It's the 3rd one in 10 days, but these Jets, are really proving that they're capable of all of these curveballs.
Number one, it's going to be difficult, but the second part of this is game ball to Jets Nation because they took over Nashville. When Ethan was doing that interview on the field, you just heard people doing the Jets chant. You saw so many people down there. Now after a win, MetLife is going to be crazy on Thursday night. But I will say this. The Patriots have been pesky early on in the season. They go to Cincinnati and win in Week 1. They took Seattle to overtime today before falling by a field goal. This is a huge victory. So if the Jets can grab this one at home, which I think the atmosphere will again be electric, then you'll have an opportunity to rest before the Denver Broncos come here to MetLife. You'll have a 10-day rest.
Yeah, I think the Patriots game is going to be tough.
Yeah.
I think going into the season, we thought, the Patriots aren't going to be those guys. But they've had a good start to their season now. So it's going to be interesting to see how that game goes. I think they have to make sure they get their rest. C.J. Mosley possibly not playing. We don't know what's going to happen, right? He missed this game. He'll get his rest as much as he can in those few days. But if he's not able to play, guys got to step up again. And this is a Patriots team that's playing tough right now, early. They're playing for Coach Mayo. They want to succeed. They want to show that they can do it without Belichick. So, you cannot sleep on these guys.
Yeah, and every team deals with adversity early in the season, but for the Jets, it looks like there's a possibility that Jermaine Johnson is going to be out for a prolonged absence. So, with that being said, you love what you got out of Will McDonald today with the 3 sacks, and Michael Clements has had to step up for you, and Tack McKinley. The edge position is going to continue to be a point of focus for the green and white as we move ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be a big point of focus, and who knows, maybe someone is going to step in and surprise all of us and really rise to the occasion and fill that spot. But thank you, everyone, for joining us on Jets Overtime. The Jets play this Thursday at MetLife against the Patriots. We will be with you for Pregame Central, Jets Overtime on Thursday, but don't miss us too much. We'll see you in a few days.